Mother Teresa has long been revered as an icon of humility and selfless dedication to humanity, yet few knew that behind her constant smile, she endured silent suffering for decades. Just before her death, she revealed terrifying secrets that shook the world. What you're about to discover will send shivers down your spine. Prepare yourself as we explore Mother Teresa's heartbreaking ordeals and the shocking truths that challenge everything we thought we knew about her. Chapter 1: Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, also known as Saint Teresa of Calcutta, was a Catholic nun and missionary who dedicated her life to serving the poorest of the poor in India. In 1950, she founded the Missionaries of Charity, a congregation committed to caring for the sick, hungry, homeless, and dying. With her sisters, she opened orphanages, hospices, and clinics, providing compassionate care worldwide, including in India, Africa, and America. Her life was marked by charity, compassion, self-denial, and devotion to God. She even refused personal recognition and monetary rewards, including the Nobel Peace Prize money, which she donated to support the Missionaries of Charity's orphanages and elderly homes. But was her life truly perfect both spiritually and physically? Mother Teresa's global impact and influence led many to perceive her as flawless. However, like many people of virtue, she was not immune to spiritual struggles. The devil often attempts to undermine such figures, afflicting their faith. For Mother Teresa, this led many to question whether her faith and works were as unwavering as they seemed. After her death, writings revealed a much deeper and more complex spiritual journey. Mother Teresa, like many saints of the past, experienced what is known as the dark night of the soul, a spiritual crisis filled with doubt, emptiness, and a sense of separation from God. This concept, famously written about by Spanish mystic Saint John of the Cross, describes periods of intense inner struggle. Saint Francis of Assisi, another beloved saint known for his devotion to God and love of nature, is also believed to have experienced this dark night. Though historical accounts of his experience are scarce, it is said that he too faced moments of deep spiritual desolation. As more of Mother Teresa's writings came to light, they revealed a woman whose struggles and doubts were much more profound than the public ever realized. What were these terrifying revelations? Keep reading to find out. In his pursuit of a closer relationship with God, Saint Francis may have experienced moments of feeling abandoned, doubtful, or spiritually dry during his dark nights. Despite these challenges, he endured with faith, perseverance, and prayer, eventually emerging with a deeper understanding of God's love and a stronger commitment to his spiritual journey. But will the same hold true for Mother Teresa? Mother Teresa's dark night of the soul refers to a prolonged period of spiritual desolation during which she felt an overwhelming sense of emptiness and doubt in her faith. Despite these inner struggles, which lasted for decades, she continued her humanitarian work, even while feeling disconnected from God. Her perseverance through this profound spiritual trial has cemented her as an enduring symbol of faith and resilience. For decades, Mother Teresa's life was marked by internal battles, hopelessness, and desolation as she wrestled with doubts about God's existence, the meaning of her faith, and whether her efforts were truly helping humanity. These inner turmoils were revealed in her private letters and conversations with her confessors, uncovering a hidden side of her life that surprised even those closest to her. Mother Teresa passed away on September 5, 1997. Since then, new revelations about her inner life have emerged, shocking many who believed they knew her well. Behind the radiant external presence that people saw, her inner world was a vast, empty cavern, zones of almost complete darkness. This led her to once exclaim in a letter to a priest, "If I ever become a saint, I will surely be one of darkness." However, this darkness was not depression or despair, it was a reflection of the overwhelming light of God's presence, a light so intense it felt like absence or even abandonment. On May 17, 1964, she described her inner state with these astonishing words: "To be in love and yet not to love, to live by faith and yet not to believe, to spend myself and yet be in total darkness." Years earlier, on February 28, 1957, she wrote, "There is so much contradiction in my soul, such deep longing for God, so deep that it is painful, continual suffering, and yet not wanted by God, repulsed, empty, no faith, no love, no zeal, and heaven means nothing. It looks like an empty place, yet there is this torturing longing for God." These revelations about the night that Mother Teresa endured for so long have cast new light on the depth of her spiritual struggles. One remarkable secret that emerged after Mother Teresa's death in 1997 was one she had tried for years to keep hidden. With her characteristic modesty, in addition to being a woman of immense practical kindness, she also received a series of mystical visions and divine expressions. These profound experiences occurred just before she began her mission in the slums, serving the poorest of the poor. Jesus himself asked her in vivid terms to change her life entirely and establish a new religious society of nuns known as the Missionaries of Charity. "I want Indian nuns, missionaries of charity, who would be my fire of love amongst the poor, the sick, the dying, and the little children," Jesus told her in 1946. In one of her writings, Mother Teresa confessed, "In all my prayers and holy communions, he is continually asking, 'Wilt thou refuse?'" Frightened by the enormity of what was being asked of her and aware of her own limitations, she humbly replied, "My own Jesus, what you ask is beyond me. I can hardly understand half of the things you want. I am unworthy, I am sinful, I am weak." Yet, despite her hesitation, she later heard Jesus reassuring her, "You are, I know, the most incapable person, weak and sinful, but just because you are that, I want to use you for my glory. Wilt thou refuse?" His words echoed again, urging her to fear not even if the whole world were against her. During her darkest moment, Mother Teresa felt an overwhelming emptiness and loneliness, even as she continued to care for the poor and sick in Kolkata. She described this period as living in a state of darkness, feeling that God was distant or even absent. Yet, despite these inner battles, Mother Teresa persisted in her work with unshaken trust in God's plan. She often marveled at being chosen for such work, expressing her astonishment on several occasions. "In this age, more than in any other, God wants to use nothing," she declared. The word nothing became a recurring theme for her. In one conversation, she remarked, "Father Paul, when you discover you're nothing, rejoice." She explained that being nothing wasn't about low self-esteem, but about the profound realization of one's humility before God. In her private writings, Mother Teresa questioned whether her strong faith, which attracted so many people to God, was deceiving them. She was bewildered by the contrast between the blessings that seemed to flow through her to others and the darkness and emptiness she felt within herself. "When I speak to the sisters and people about God and His work, it brings them light, joy, and courage, but I get nothing out of it. Inside, it is all dark," she once admitted. This confusion persisted for years, with her writing in 1961, "I don't know what is happening to me," and earlier that same year, "My life seems so contradictory." Despite these struggles, she never lost her deep trust in God's love. Though she faced trials and endured darkness, she knew she was still His little one, His beloved. In 1983, during a serious illness, she composed a meditation that ended with the heartfelt declaration, "Jesus, I love with my whole heart, with my whole being. I have given Him all, even my sins, and He has espoused me to Himself in tenderness and love." Mother Teresa's experience of the dark night of the soul is now seen as a testament to her faith and willingness to endure suffering for the sake of others. Her journey through doubt and spiritual crisis reminds us that even the most devout individuals can face moments of inner turmoil. Yet, her ability to continue serving others with love and compassion, despite these struggles, stands as a powerful testament to her strength of character and unwavering commitment to her calling. However, one might ask, why would a woman who so passionately loved God endure such suffering? Even with her immense devotion, people found flaws in her life, and she faced emotional and psychological torment along with endless controversial claims. Chapter 2, Controversies about Mother Teresa continues this exploration of her remarkable life. Mother Teresa, though a small woman, had an undeniably commanding presence. She became a global icon whose humanitarian work touched lives across continents, from Asia to America and Africa. However, despite her renowned reputation, questions arose about her true intentions. Was she as perfect as she appeared? Did she genuinely mean well for the people under her care? Dr. Jack Prager, a British doctor who began treating the poor for free in 1972, encountered Mother Teresa's work through a BBC documentary. Moved by her apparent generosity, he started working alongside her but soon realized that much of her reputation was built on misconceptions. Dr. Prager noted that the conditions in Mother Teresa's ashram lacked proper medical care. Patients had shaved heads, no chairs, and slept on stretcher beds reminiscent of the First World War. The facilities lacked basic necessities like painkillers, and reusable needles were dulled from overuse. Despite receiving millions in donations, medical care was minimal. One heartbreaking observation was that people received little more than food, shelter, and prayers before they died. Another significant criticism stemmed from the words of Christopher Hitchens, a British journalist and author, who wrote and directed a documentary titled Hell's Angel. Hitchens did not consider Mother Teresa a true humanitarian. He claimed her work was driven by her desire to serve God and God alone, rather than helping the poor escape poverty. In his book, he raised questions about how she handled donations and her refusal to allocate them to infrastructure improvements, such as creating advanced hospitals or providing quality medical care. Instead, the money often went to her religious work. Despite these controversies, however, many people continued to see her as a saint who endured incredible sacrifices. Critics could not deny the visible evidence of her compassion, as her institutions cared for tens of thousands of dying people who had nowhere else to turn. However, these complex truths reveal the human side of her journey, raising questions about the balance between faith and practicality in a world full of suffering.